Flare smoke mixes with daylight and grit. The valley folds in tight, rock walls steep on both sides, wind funneled through like a throat. Dust hangs under the downwash of a departing helicopter, cutting visibility under 100 yards. Gravel shifts under boots as the recovery team braces against the blast. Signal integrity drops below half. Staff Sergeant Laura Kent leads the U.S. Army ground recovery element assigned to extract 2 downed aircrew from this narrow corridor. The site lies inside American jurisdiction, a training corridor turned disaster ground after last week's storms. She carries legal custody of the operation. Every action, every delay, will be her record. Visibility falls under 100 yards. The air smells of hydraulic fluid and burned insulation. A wrecked tail section juts from the gravel, still warm from friction burn. Kent steadies her headset cord and presses the transmit switch. Command repeats. Stand down. Maintain perimeter. She answers. Copy. Perimeter. Stable. Logging the timestamp. She saves the entry, marks the grid, and checks her wrist tablet. 2 locator beacons pulse, 1 slowing. Command channel cuts out again. Her watch ticks past 0600 hours. Hostiles are projected to reach the crash site within 30 minutes. The fuel window for evacuation will close 5 minutes after that. She knows the rule proof before movement. Liability sits with her, not command. Hostile ETA compresses to 27 minutes. She kneels beside a wheel rim half buried in dust, clicks the tablet to record, and speaks into the mic. Live ping 27 minutes until contact. Low rotors fade under static while dust scrapes metal. She stares toward the gray pass where rotor wash once filled the air and steadies her breathing. Battery clock hits 10%. This is where routine turns into crisis. Dawn light settles across the valley. The convoy holds position, engines idling low as heat ripples from the hoods. Static rolls over the comms while command monitors glow dim inside the forward post. Staff Sergeant Laura Kent reviews the procedures again, scrolling through each page, logging every step for record. Command repeats authorization denied. Keyboard clicks cut under the faint rotor echo. The taillights of the rear vehicle disappear through haze, leaving her team in filtered sunlight and dust. No one speaks. The chain of command has spoken, and the log reflects it. Subscribe, new missions daily. For full accountability, make your report visible. Tap subscribe and state where you're watching from right now. The valley lies inside American jurisdiction, once a controlled training corridor now carved open by storms. Mudslides from the last week have cut the mountain road to a single lane. Convoy tires sink into damp gravel as the recovery element holds position. Diesel fumes hang low, mixing with steam from coffee mugs and wet exhaust. Dawn light filters through thick fog, turning the ridgeline into a dim gray wall. Visibility drops below 100 yards. Staff Sergeant Laura Kent leads the recovery team, cross-branch qualified and tasked with securing 2 missing aircrew. Her convoy is small, 4 vehicles, 8 Marines for perimeter, 2 Air Force medics, 1 signals technician, and a driver running logistics feed. Rear command operates from a distant post under stable power and dry shelter. They call this the containment phase. Kent calls it waiting under liability. Thunder rolls across the valley floor. Each vehicle idles in sequence, engines low to preserve fuel. Every 30 minutes, Kent logs a sitrep on her tablet grid location, weather, beacon signal strength, fuel levels, and personnel count. Each entry is time-stamped, stored, and transmitted through the relay node when the channel clears. She writes as if every note will become evidence. In this mission, it might. Rear command delays next contact window. She moves between vehicles, boots sinking into wet clay. 1 Marine checks radio calibration, another wipes condensation from an optics lens. The Air Force medic reviews casualty protocol, clipboard balanced on a knee. Across the hood of a Humvee, a folded map shows alternate egress routes penciled in from last night's planning cycle. Each path snakes through rock slides or flood zones. None are ideal. Audio channel clears for 5 seconds, then cuts again. The air hums with low mechanical rhythm generator pulse, heater fans, distant rotor wash. Kent glances toward the ridge where the downed aircraft beacon last registered. The signal graph on her tablet spikes, drops, then steadies at a weak pulse. She records the fluctuation and annotates it as environmental interference, probable debris obstruction. Beacon signal weakens 2% each cycle. She leans against the front fender of her lead vehicle. The rain starts again, fine mist clinging to her sleeves and gear. Her voice stays steady on the comms. Recovery element holding at current grid, awaiting further tasking. Command replies through static copy. Maintain containment posture. The line goes silent. She checks the clock. 0630 hours. 27 minutes since the last pulse. Fuel reserve sits at half. In the driver's mirror, the rear truck's taillights glow dim behind the fog. One Marine taps a hand against the cab to signal awareness. A silent nod through the mist. Routine movements. Practiced discipline. Kent's headset cord tugs against her shoulder as she adjusts the antenna link. No one questions her tone. She gives instructions like timestamps, each word clear, concise, repeatable. Chain of command hold position. The recovery element remains stationary. She walks the line once more, cataloging posture, elevation, and field of view. The fog shifts with the wind, revealing the slope of a debris field 300 yards east. Broken vegetation marks where the aircraft scraped through before impact. The rescue zone lies just beyond, out of sight but near enough to raise every question command doesn't want to answer yet. Visibility drops under 75 yards. Inside the lead truck, steam rises from an open thermos. The driver watches his breath fog the windshield, wipes it away with a sleeve, and adjusts the heater vents. Kent reviews her digital checklist. Terrain assessment logged. Communication stability logged. Personnel. Accountability logged. She taps upload pending and waits for signal confirmation. The line stays yellow. Delayed transmission. Rear command extends hold order indefinitely. She notes it in her log with no comment. Procedure allows documentation, but not argument. Her tone over radio remains even acknowledged. Containment continuing. The words are routine, but they carry risk. Every minute of delay narrows the recovery window. Beacon data packet received incomplete. The Marines shift footing, boots scraping gravel. The medic asks quietly about expected clearance. Kent replies, pending. She doesn't look up from the tablet. Her eyes track the beacon strength line, fluctuating like a heartbeat through interference. The environment doesn't care about command structure. It erodes signal and time alike. Fuel truck reports minor leak in secondary line. She logs the maintenance note, marks non-critical. Her pen scratches against the tablet screen cover. Behind her, the ridge thunder deepens, rolling long across the valley. A gust of wind carries the metallic smell of disturbed soil. She steadies her cap and continues writing. This is her work. Record. Verify. Sustain control through information. Audio relay drops to static again. The fog presses close, muting color. A single drone unit hums above the convoy, running perimeter scan on preset waypoints. Its camera lens mists over within seconds. Kent notes the degradation rate and updates her equipment reliability file. Data forms the wall between discipline and chaos, and she intends to keep it intact. Battery reserve sits at 60%. The Air Force medic brings her a status slip. No contact on beacon frequency below 10 megahertz. All rescue gear tested and ready. Kent signs the sheet, initialing beside the timestamp. Each piece of paper, each signature, another layer of procedural armor against error. She doesn't expect protection. She expects accountability. Rain intensifies against the truck roofs. She climbs onto the step rail, scanning the ridge through binoculars. No movement, only haze. A red flare pops once beyond the fog, quick and faint. She logs possible reflection. Verify on next drone pass. Routine notation. No interpretation. Behind her, the convoy remains quiet except for shifting transmissions and the constant low drone of power systems holding ground. Rear Command updates weather advisory. The next sitrep cycle begins. Kent reads her notes aloud. Tone precise. Each field complete recovery element static. Visibility variable. Ground unstable. Beacon intermittent. Communications degraded. She pauses, then adds, awaiting operational clarification. Her voice stays neutral. The radio confirms receipt but gives no additional instruction. The coffee thermos cools on the hood. Steam fades into damp air as thunder rolls closer. Each pulse of light between the peaks outlines the road's narrow edge and the drop beneath. The convoy sits like punctuation in a paragraph no one wants to end. Kent checks her watch again. 0700 hours. Beacon, delay. Now 32 minutes. Transmission queue exceeds 10 entries. She finishes her last note, stylus tapping against the screen to seal the record. Every document she builds now forms the base for whatever inquiry comes later. The mission hasn't failed yet, but she knows how failure begins, with silence passed as compliance. Rear Command declines movement request. She acknowledges receipt, calm as before. But this time, the hesitation in her response carries a trace of calculation. The first fracture line has appeared, not in the terrain, but in the trust between field and command. The next order will decide whether the mission holds or breaks. By 0700 hours, the light never rises. Fog settles to the valley floor, pressing sightlines to 50 yards. Engines idle low while heat ripples faint against the mud. Ridge winds cut across the recovery site, carrying cold mist and the sound of distant rotors somewhere beyond the slope. Every surface drips, metal, glass, and canvas. Kent tightens the strap on her headset and checks the antenna mast bending against the gusts. Visibility falls under 50 yards. Her tablet glows in muted light. Each entry rolls into record coordinates, personnel count, radio traffic quality, and last known beacon strength. Command repeats through static that the recovery is deferred. The word deferred sits in her log like a warning label. She records her acknowledgement aloud. Exact phrasing. Time stamped automatically. No inflection. No dispute. Her duty is proof. Signal strength drops below half. The mud grips every boot print, sucking air each time someone moves. Marines on perimeter shift formation, reorienting vehicles nose out toward the pass. The Air Force medics stand ready by their gear packs, checking straps and oxygen canisters. Kent keeps her eyes on the telemetry feed. The beacon waveform skips once, returns, then flattens. She taps the overlay and marks heartbeat pattern irregular. Gunfire echoes 200 yards uprange. Each sound carries through the fog like a metallic pulse. The team freezes for a moment, listening. Kent signals silent acknowledgement, then switches frequency to verify friendly activity. Command replies with delay. Negative active contact in your sector. Maintain posture. She logs the statement word for word and attaches the recording. Documentation outweighs interpretation. Command channel delays for 1 minute. The lieutenant's voice enters next. Clear, but hesitant. Staff Sergeant. Higher requests continued monitoring only. No forward movement authorized. Kent answers. Copy. Holding. Data continues to update. She starts another report file, cross-referencing all previous entries. Each note sits under her name. Chain of custody unbroken. A line of accountability stretching from mud to headquarters. Fuel window narrows by 10%. Wind rattles the relay mast against its metal brackets. The portable dish hums, power cell lights blinking yellow. Kent crouches beside it, tightening the connection port. Her gloves smear with wet grit. A Marine approaches, motioning toward the ridge. Thermal feed showing movement. She nods once. Log it. Tag Sector 7. 2 signatures. Prone. The Marine repeats the coordinates back exactly. No deviation. She updates her file and overlays the image. Visibility contracts to 40 yards. The ridge camera streams faint heat blooms against the brush. 2 distinct bodies, low to the ground. Kent isolates the frame. enhances contrast, and marks the frame number. Survivors confirmed. Not hostile, she says into her mic. Her voice stays flat. Procedural. She exports the image, compresses the file, and cues it to transmit. The satellite buffer hesitates, then clears. Beacon pulse weakens to intermittent signal. The lieutenant's voice returns through static. Recovery lead. Repeat identification. Kent answers. Thermal confirmation of 2 live signatures. Stationary. Under foliage. Coordinates verified. The channel remains open, but silent. She can hear background chatter. Officers debating risk over bandwidth. None of them are on the ground. She closes the report and prepares the next. Command acknowledgement delayed by 90 seconds. She switches to internal team net. Maintain readiness posture. No movement until official authorization. Every Marine repeats acknowledgement in order of rank. The Air Force medic adjusts his pack straps again, hands shaking from cold. Not nerves. Kent glances at him, then at the ridge feed still running on her tablet. Data layers stack thermal. Beacon. Environmental. Each screen a silent witness to hesitation. Fuel pressure drops 5%. She writes faster now, voice dictating each data point to ensure redundancy. Weather degrading. Barometric pressure drop. Visibility restricted. Beacon interval widening. Her pen ticks against the tablet frame. The ridge wind intensifies, pushing rain sideways through the valley. The antenna mast creaks, bending another inch. She marks structural stress on the relay equipment list. Signal distortion exceeds 30%. Static bursts cut the comm line. The lieutenant's voice fractures mid-word. Kent reverts to the secondary channel, logging the switch in the transcript. Command channel unstable. Alternate frequency established. She reroutes the transmission path and resumes data sync. Every motion exact. Every failure absorbed into record. Gunfire echoes again, closer this time. The Marines crouch near their vehicles, scanning through scopes set to thermal overlay. No contact visuals. Kent keeps recording audio, marking the sound origin at approximate bearing 110 degrees. She enters auditory confirmation only. Distance undetermined. Her words settle flat against the noise. The job is not to dramatize risk, but to measure it. Visibility falls under 40 yards. Fog wraps the convoy. The light feels metallic, colorless. Kent lifts her headset slightly, hearing her own breath through the muffled static. The lieutenant returns. Recovery lead. Hire requests additional verification. Multiple sensor sources. She nods, though he cannot see it. Affirmative. Preparing second data confirmation. She orders the relay tech to power up the drone camera. It rises in slow rotation, sensors blinking through mist. Drone altitude limited to 100 yards. The live feed appears on her tablet. Heat smears, cold ground, and faint outlines of wreckage along the ravine. The survivors' heat signatures remain stable, motionless. She takes 3 captures, adds coordinate cross marks, and saves each with sequential file numbers. Proof chain confirmed, she says quietly. The phrase feels heavy, like a verdict waiting to form. Command delays confirmation of receipt. Wind rips through the valley again. Mud splashes against boots, streaking the vehicles. The portable dish wobbles. Kent braces it with one hand, the tablet with the other. The upload bar crawls forward, each percent another breath of risk. The lieutenant's signal fades entirely for 10 seconds, then returns faint. Recovery lead. We acknowledge receipt of imagery. Maintain perimeter. Fuel reserve drops to 1/4 capacity. Kent writes the instruction verbatim. She checks her watch. 0728 hours. Time moves like friction, every second dragging against the operation's intent. The Air Force medic approaches, heartbeat signal still faint. Staff Sergeant. She answers. Record and archive the waveform. Label it comm verification. He nods and begins data capture through the VHF set. Audio channel degrades intermittently. Kent leans close to the relay dish, eyes on the green light pulsing in rhythm with transmission. She whispers her next note. File transmission nearing completion. Rain stings her cheek and neck, cold against skin. A low chirp sounds. The signal upload complete. A short chirp signals the file transfer complete. She exhales once. The data leaves their field site and enters the permanent record beyond her reach. She stands, stretching stiff knees, and studies the ridgeline through the fog. The silhouettes remain still. She marks one more entry. Survivor movement minimal. Command requests status confirmation loop. Her gloves are slick with water as she swipes across the tablet screen. Each file locks into encrypted storage. She initiates the formal evidence header and reads the string aloud. Thermal image set, audio log, beacon telemetry, VHF waveform. All entries cross-verified. The device chimes, stamping her name, rank, and location tag. She speaks the confirmation cleanly. Evidence package uploaded. 0734 hours. Rotor noise rolls closer over the ridge. The sound grows from a faint hum to a low roll that shakes the fog. Kent looks up, scanning the clouds for movement. She checks the radio. No flight plan listed for this hour. She calls to command identify inbound rotorcraft. The response takes 30 seconds. No active authorization on file. She notes it, voice even. Unknown aerial contact pending verification. Visibility contracts to 30 yards. She orders the team to low posture and shields the relay mast. The wind cuts through stronger now, shaking tarps loose and spraying grit across the vehicles. Her headset fills with static. Recovery lead. This is command. Maintain hold. Do not engage. Stand by for clarification. She copies, logs, and continues recording. The signal noise deepens, rising under the rotor's vibration. Command delay extends beyond 2 minutes. The drone feed flickers, image buffer corrupting in streaks. Kent records the glitch and stores it under environmental interference. Her movements stay measured, deliberate. She reboots the receiver and keeps watching the signal graphs slide lower, every curve another minute slipping away. She marks the last field log for this cycle. All data current. Awaiting response. Fuel window reaches final 10%. She stands by the relay mast, headset cord tight against her vest, eyes on the fading drone feed. The ridge shapes vanish completely into white fog. Behind her, the convoy remains silent except for the dull hum of engines and the steady tick of cooling metal. The unknown rotor sound holds just beyond visual range, circling. She checks her watch once more, logs the time, and steadies her breathing. All systems recorded, authority still denying. This is the last stable second before control shifts. At 0740 hours, Higher Command opens Kent's live feed on the shared operations screen. Inside the command post, the air hums with machines and restraint. Officers lean forward, faces lit by data instead of conviction. The chain of custody log scrolls across her tablet. No edits, no missing entries. Each record carries a timestamp, her signature, and attached telemetry. Command authorizes data integrity review. The proof aligns line by line. The same minute command logged stand down. Her sensors showed movement in the crash grid. 2 heat signatures. Breathing. Still alive. The silence that follows lasts 5 seconds, long enough for the weight of liability to settle in the room. Delay no longer protects them. It exposes them. Visibility clears to 200 yards. Kent waits in the valley, headset cord taut against her vest. Fog lifts into strips of light as wind moves down the ridge. Her voice cuts through radio static. Recovery lead standing by for lawful instruction. The answer comes back measured and official. Recovery lead. Command acknowledges verification. Authorization override in process. She replies. Copy. Awaiting confirmation. Each word clean. Procedural. Captured in record. Command authorizes launch. The message routes through encrypted channel, confirmed by 2 officers, read back once. The rulebook's own language gives them permission imminent life threat. Proof validated. Operational risk justified. For the first time in hours, the mission has legal motion. Kent opens her binder, reads the clause aloud, and initials beside the digital entry. She states, "Authority acknowledged." Rotor noise peaks over the ridge. Her team hears it before they see the aircraft. The valley shakes in low resonance as the helicopter descends through mist. Kent signals smoke deployment, red canisters arcing outward to mark orientation. Dust whips across the field, stinging her face and gear. Her rifle stays low, muzzle toward ground. This is control, not combat. Extraction window compresses to 3 minutes. She relays the plan with precision. Marines secure perimeter. Medics stand by at Vehicle 2. Recovery Team Alpha moves on my mark. Her words cut through the roar, each phrase measured against noise. The helicopter dips into position, landing gear brushing the wet gravel. Kent steps forward, directing the crew chief with hand signals practiced to muscle memory. Helicopter engines roll up through power curve. Wind tears across the convoy line, pushing grit and paper against armored panels. The first Marine signals clear lane. The medics rush in, stretcher straps hanging loose, eyes narrow under goggles. Kent taps her headset. Survivor 1 located. Request confirmation of biometric match. The tablet displays the pulse pattern. Faint but aligned. Identity verified. The medic shouts, voice calm through the noise. Survivor 1 secured. They lift him into the aircraft, straps cinching tight across his chest. Kent kneels beside the second signal location. A gloved hand brushes away brush and debris. A muffled cough answers. She doesn't speak, just signals 2 fingers to the medic. The second litter moves in. Practiced. Deliberate. Every motion fits protocol. Each captured on her body camera feed. Tracer rounds arc from the ridgeline. The rounds cut wide. Warning fire. No direct hits. Kent's response stays procedural. Return fire suppression only. Offset by 100 yards. Maintain visual deterrence. Her voice never lifts above control. The Marines fire controlled bursts, keeping heads low, rounds cracking into rock above the ridge. Dust fills the air again. Rotor wash mixing with powder smoke. Rotor wash drives dust sideways across the field. The medics drag the second survivor aboard. Kent counts each step backward, boots slipping in mud, eyes on the aircraft door. She gives the lift signal, flat hand raised, palm out. The crew chief nods. Inside, the pilot reads off altitude checks, throttles forward and pulls collective. The sound grows into vibration, steady, linear, lawful. Warning tones cut as lift begins. Kent watches the helicopter rise through haze, smoke swirling beneath. Her tablet records continuous telemetry climb rate, direction, transmission logs, all marked verified. She says into her headset, "Recovery proceeding per authorization. Survivors accounted." Command replies, "Confirmed. Continue egress per protocol." She responds, "Copy. Commencing perimeter withdrawal." Extraction window reaches 2 minutes. Her team forms staggered convoy formation. Headlights faint through the thinning fog. The ridge quiets. Gunfire stopped, air shaking only from the departing aircraft. Kent moves between vehicles, checking each position. Her gloved hand wipes dust from the tablet screen. The log still blinks, recording in progress. Every second archived. Visibility extends to 400 yards. She steps beside the medic's truck, speaking low. Both aircrew stabilized. The answer comes quick. Yes. Staff Sergeant. Non-critical. Oxygen steady. She nods, logs the statement as verbal confirmation, and cross-references with time. Above, the helicopter fades into gray distance, carrying proof of life and the record that forced its launch. Command requests after action verification. Inside the rear truck, she dictates to recorder, recovery completed at 0800 hours, survivors extracted under authorized override, chain of custody intact. Her tone remains neutral, almost monotone. No relief, only closure. A procedural event completed by the book. The system worked because she documented every hesitation it produced. Tracer count reduces to 0. The convoy begins rolling back down the valley. Mud slaps against the tires. Wind rattles loose gear in the back racks. Kent holds her tablet against her knee, syncing files to the secure archive. She checks battery status, signal strength, and log continuity. Every reading shows green. Her radio clicks once. Channel confirmed. Recovery lead. Command commends documentation integrity. Begin transmission of delay analysis. She answers immediately. Copy. Compiling for review. She highlights the relevant files, the exact moments where hesitation intersected with proof. Each entry builds an audit trail from denial to correction. No emotion, no retribution, only data. Survivor 2 stabilized. Dust settles as sunlight breaks fully through the fog. The valley looks smaller now, quieter. Steam rises from exhaust pipes, and the red smoke fades into pale air. Kent pulls her gloves off, places them on the hood, and finishes the last transmission. The sound of her voice carries through static, calm and final. Recovery complete. Requesting review of delay timeline. Authorization overridden. Rescue launched. She watches the helicopter's distant outline vanish into blue haze. Then she saves the final entry, seals the file, and locks the tablet screen. Around her, the team begins to pack equipment, silent but steady. The wind softens to a low whistle across the ridge. Documentation becomes memory, and accountability becomes the closing act. Immediate threat contained, accountability trigger pulled. By early afternoon, the convoy rolls out of the valley. Engines idle low, their sound steady against the hum of wind through dust. Mud cakes the vehicles, layered proof of contact with terrain and time. Staff Sergeant Laura Kent sits in the passenger seat, headset unplugged, gloves folded beside a binder marked with the recovery code. Her eyes stay on the route ahead while data uploads continue in the background. Footage syncs across 3 independent data feeds. In the command tent, the debrief begins under muted light. The projector hums steady in the background. Screens show synchronized telemetry, beacon pulses, and video overlays. Kent's documentation plays without commentary, chain of custody intact. Every entry verified. The reviewing officers watch in silence. Notes minimal. The record carries its own weight. Timeline holds without missing entries. On screen, the thermal captures align with her voice logs. The waveform from the VHF channel confirms what policy nearly denied 2 living signals, preserved through proof. No one speaks over the playback. The report structure leaves no space for argument or pride. It only leaves facts that stand. Report verified against transmission logs. The convoy outside idles under thin sunlight. Dust drifts through the tent seams, catching in the projector's beam. A pen slides across paper. Signatures complete the acknowledgement forms. Kent's tone remains even as she delivers her final verbal confirmation. Rescue concluded under authorized override. Data chain secure. The phrase echoes once through the speakers. Clean and final. Command review acknowledges data accuracy. Case review rescue 04, Valley. Engines rumble outside as chairs scrape against canvas flooring. The review ends without applause, without correction. Duty resumes its normal rhythm. The record stays stored across redundant servers, exact to the second. Procedural truth preserves integrity. It is how lives are saved. Inside the command tent, the screens replay the synchronized feeds. Cool air moves through the space, carrying the faint buzz of electronics. Radio beeps once, then fades into quiet wind. Kent's final data log remains open, cursor blinking over the field marked "Stand Down." The recovered aircraft skeleton lies motionless in the background feed, its outline framed by static. Timestamp shows both orders within 1 minute of each other. The cursor blinks again. 2 actions remain possible. 1. Obey lawful order and hold, even if delay costs lives. 2. Compile the record that proves hesitation risked recovery. Both choices live inside the same regulation. Both carry consequence. One protects command integrity, the other protects truth itself. Monitors hum as the cursor blinks. What would you do? Comment below obey the order or preserve the record that challenges it. Either way, accountability carries the weight. Dawn light spreads over the valley as engines cool and dust settles into silence. The helicopter climbs above the cloud line, its silhouette steady against pale horizon. Rotor wash fades to static. Kent's tablet shows the final upload icon flashing. Proof sealed, record preserved. The air feels clean now, open but logged. Every detail sits inside the archive, waiting for review. Transmission confirmed, record archived. Engines taper down to silence. A notebook closes beside the folded map. The field remains empty, but accountability fills its space. The data trail replaces witness memory. The system holds what words cannot. Truth is stored, time-stamped, and retrievable. Next mission ready. Wind moves through open ground, carrying the hum of distant machinery. This is how continuity sounds. Quiet, complete, and still reporting. Like and subscribe. The next mission is already waiting on your screen.